the power of solitude. In today's fast-paced world, silence is almost extinct. Every corner is filled with distractions, notifications buzzing on your phone, people demanding your attention, the noise of society telling you how you should live, what you should chase, and who you should become. We live in a culture where being busy is glorified, and being alone is often misunderstood as weakness or loneliness. But here's a truth many people miss. Solitude is not loneliness. Solitude is strength. Solitude is clarity. Solitude is the sacred ground where you meet your highest self. Think about it. When was the last time you sat in complete silence with yourself, without a phone in your hand, without a television playing in the background, without scrolling endlessly to fill the emptiness? Most people are afraid of that silence because they are afraid of facing themselves. They keep running from one distraction to another, but they never stop to ask, who am I beneath all of this noise? What do I truly want? What is my spirit telling me? This is why solitude is powerful. It strips away the layers of noise, comparison, and pressure that society places on your shoulders. It removes the masks you wear for acceptance, for validation, for approval. Solitude is not about escaping life. It is about returning to life with more power, more focus, and more authenticity. Look at history, and you will notice something remarkable. Some of the greatest minds, prophets, thinkers, and leaders all valued solitude. Jesus went into the wilderness. Buddha meditated under the Bodhi tree. Prophets, philosophers, writers, and inventors withdrew into solitude to find wisdom, clarity, and inspiration. Why? Because they understood that to hear the truth of your spirit, you must silence the noise of the world. Solitude is where transformation begins. It is in those quiet moments that you discover oh, you really are without the opinions of others shaping you. It is where you find your purpose, not the purpose handed to you by society, family, or peers. In solitude, you stop living by default and start living with intention. But here's the challenge. Most people run from solitude because they confuse it with loneliness. Loneliness is emptiness. Solitude is fullness. Loneliness drains you, but solitude refills you. Loneliness makes you feel abandoned, but solitude reminds you that you are complete within yourself. When you embrace solitude, you are no longer afraid of being left out, left behind, or left alone, because you realize that within your spirit lives a well of peace, strength, and wisdom that no one can take away. So as we begin this journey into the 5 ways solitude can transform your potential, remember this. Solitude is not something to fear, but something to embrace. It is not punishment, but preparation. It is not emptiness, but empowerment. When you learn how to sit with yourself, you unlock the key to growth, clarity, and divine connection. And it all begins with that first step, choosing to be still, choosing to be silent, choosing to enter into the power of solitude. Solitude awakens self-awareness. The first gift of solitude is self-awareness. In the silence, when the voices of the world fade away, you finally begin to hear the voice within. This is powerful because most people spend their lives living according to noise. Noise from society, noise from friends, noise from family, and even noise from their own fears. They chase paths that were never meant for them, follow dreams that don't belong to them, and carry burdens that were never theirs to bear. Why? Because they never took the time to sit alone and truly ask, who am I? What do I really want? What is my soul guiding me to do? Solitude is like a mirror for the soul. It reflects back to you the truth that gets hidden under the weight of expectations. When you are constantly surrounded by people, by distractions, by obligations, your inner voice is drowned out. You can't hear your intuition. You can't feel your spirit. But when you step into solitude, when you cut off the noise for a moment, you create the space for awareness to rise. This awareness is not just about knowing your strengths. It is also about seeing your weaknesses, your patterns, your habits, and your wounds. Many people run from solitude because they don't want to confront the truth about themselves. But here's the thing. You cannot heal what you will not face. And you cannot grow into your highest potential until you become aware of where you are right now. Solitude gives you the honesty that crowds can never give you. Think about it. When you are alone, there's no one to impress, no mask to wear, no role to play. It's just you, raw and unfiltered. That's where you discover your true identity. You realize which dreams are truly yours and which ones were planted by others. You recognize whether the life you're living is aligned with your soul or if you're just going through the motions. Solitude gives you clarity, and clarity is power. With clarity comes direction. You stop wasting time on things that don't serve your spirit. You stop saying yes to situations that drain your energy. You stop following paths that lead you nowhere. Instead, you begin to walk with intention. You begin to honor your spirit. You begin to make decisions that align with your true purpose. That is the beauty of solitude. It awakens the part of you that already knows the way. Remember this, the answers you're searching for are not out there. They are within you. But you can only hear them in stillness. Self-awareness doesn't come from noise. It comes from silence. It comes from those quiet moments when you face yourself with honesty, compassion, and courage. So, don't be afraid of solitude. Embrace it as your teacher. It will show you who you really are, where you truly belong, and what your soul is calling you to do. And once you have that awareness, you hold the key to transforming your entire life. Solitude strengthens inner peace. The second way solitude transforms your potential is by giving you inner peace. In a world that glorifies constant activity, people often confuse movement with progress. They think the more noise, the more busy, the more surrounded they are by people, the more valuable their lives must be. But the truth is, without inner peace, all of that activity leads to exhaustion, confusion, and emptiness. Solitude is the sacred space where you reclaim your calm, where you step away from chaos and learn to build unshakable peace within. Inner peace does not mean that life around you is always calm. It means you have learned how to remain calm even when life is not. This is the strength solitude gives you. When you practice being alone, you stop depending on outside circumstances for your sense of balance. You realize that peace is not found in other people, not in achievements, not in possessions. It is found in the stillness of your own spirit. Think about it. Most people allow the world to control their emotions. If someone criticizes them, they break down. If plans fail, they panic. If they feel ignored, they spiral into insecurity. This happens because they have not yet built a strong foundation of peace within themselves. Solitude is where that foundation is built. When you spend time alone, you learn how to process your emotions, how to sit with your thoughts, and how to let go of negativity without needing someone else to validate you or rescue you. This is why solitude is powerful. It teaches you detachment, not detachment from love, but detachment from chaos. You begin to see that you don't have to respond to every insult. You don't have to engage with every argument. You don't have to carry every burden placed on your shoulders. In solitude, you learn to pause, to breathe, to choose peace over reaction. That choice is what makes you powerful. So, when you find inner peace through solitude, you become unshakable. Suddenly, rejection does not destroy you. Failure does not paralyze you. Criticism does not define you. Why? Because your peace is no longer in the hands of others. It lives within you. And when peace is within you, you can face the storms of life with strength and grace. Solitude also helps you separate your energy from the energy of others. Every day you are surrounded by people who project stress, negativity, fear, or doubt. If you never withdraw into solitude, you absorb that energy without even realizing it. But when you take time to be alone, you cleanse your spirit. You release what is not yours to carry. You return to your center, where your spirit is calm and your heart is strong. So, the next time you feel overwhelmed, remember this. Peace will not come from more noise, more people, or more distractions. Peace comes from solitude. It comes from the quiet courage to sit with yourself and discover that everything you need is already inside you. When you master solitude, you master peace. And when you master peace, you master life. Solitude unlocks creativity and vision. One of the greatest treasures solitude brings into your life is creativity. When the noise of the world falls silent, the imagination of your spirit begins to rise. Creativity does not bloom in chaos, it blooms in stillness. The mind cannot create when it is overloaded with distractions, but in solitude, your thoughts gain space to breathe, and new ideas begin to flow. Think of some of the most brilliant minds in history: writers, inventors, philosophers, spiritual leaders. Their greatest breakthroughs were not found in crowded rooms or constant noise, they were found in solitude. Albert Einstein often spoke of the value of being alone with his thoughts. Nikola Tesla received his most powerful visions while in isolation. Writers, poets, and spiritual teachers throughout history withdrew into solitude, not because they were escaping the world, but because they were preparing to give something greater to the world. This is the hidden power of solitude. It becomes the canvas upon which your mind paints visions. In solitude, you begin to see possibilities that others overlook. You connect with inspiration that feels divine, as if wisdom itself is flowing through you. What once seemed impossible begins to feel achievable because you can finally see the steps clearly in your mind. But here is something important to understand. Creativity is not only for artists or inventors. Creativity belongs to everyone. You may need creativity to solve a problem in your life, to find a new path for your career, to build your business, or to strengthen your relationships. You may need creativity to change your lifestyle, to heal from past wounds, or to step into a better version of yourself. Solitude gives you the environment to access that creativity. When you are constantly surrounded by voices, opinions, and influences, your mind becomes cluttered. You are too busy reacting to life to create a new one. But when you embrace solitude, you stop reacting and start creating. You begin to write down your ideas, to map out your dreams, to imagine new ways of living. Solitude opens the door to vision. And vision is what separates people who simply exist from those who truly live. Vision is the ability to see beyond your current circumstances. It is the ability to imagine a future greater than your present and then take steps toward it. Without vision, people remain stuck. Without vision, they settle for less than what they are capable of. Solitude is where vision is born, because solitude gives you the focus to see clearly, without distraction, without interference. So if you feel stuck, uninspired, or lost, don't search for answers in the noise. Instead, step into solitude. Turn off the distractions, silence the voices, and allow your spirit to breathe. In that stillness, creativity will rise, ideas will flow, vision will become clear. And from that vision, you will begin to create a life that reflects your true potential. Solitude builds strength and independence. Another powerful way solitude transforms your potential is by building strength and independence. Most people are afraid of being alone because they believe it makes them weaker, but in reality, solitude is where true strength is born. When you no longer depend on the presence or approval of others to feel complete, you discover a deeper kind of power, the kind that comes from within. In solitude, you learn self-reliance. You begin to realize that you are capable of handling challenges on your own. Instead of constantly seeking advice, validation, or permission from others, you learn to trust your inner wisdom. You stop waiting for someone to save you, because you understand that you already have the ability to save yourself. This independence is not arrogance. It is confidence. It is the quiet strength of someone who knows their worth and does not need constant reminders from the outside world. Think about it. Many people stay stuck in toxic relationships, unfulfilling friendships, or draining environments simply because they are afraid of being alone. They compromise their happiness to avoid solitude. But the truth is, once you become comfortable with solitude, you no longer tolerate what diminishes your spirit. You no longer settle for half-love, fake friendships, or shallow validation because you have discovered that you can stand on your own. This is why solitude is so empowering. It frees you from dependency. It shows you that you can walk alone if necessary, and that your value does not decrease when people leave your life. On the contrary, solitude reveals that sometimes their absence is exactly what you need to rise into your strength. Independence born from solitude also strengthens your decision-making. When you constantly depend on others for approval, your choices are easily swayed. But when you spend time alone, you'll grow comfortable listening to your inner voice. You make decisions rooted in clarity, not in fear of judgment. And when you make decisions from that place of independence, you begin to build a life that truly reflects your spirit. Solitude also builds resilience. When you can sit alone with your thoughts and emotions without running from them, you become stronger than the average person who constantly seeks distraction. You learn to process pain, to face challenges, to overcome struggles without crumbling. This strength makes you unshakable because you know you can endure hardship and still rise. And here's the most beautiful truth. Once you have built strength in solitude, your relationships with others actually become better. Why? Because you no longer approach people from a place of neediness or weakness. You don't cling to them out of fear of being alone. Instead, you connect with them from a place of wholeness. You give freely, love freely, and support others without losing yourself in the process. Solitude teaches you that you are enough, that you can stand tall even when no one stands beside you. And when you carry that kind of strength, you become unstoppable. Solitude deepens your connection with the divine. The greatest gift of solitude is that it deepens your connection with the divine. In the silence, beyond the distractions and noise of the world, you begin to sense a presence greater than yourself. Solitude is not empty. It is full of whispers from your spirit, full of guidance from God, full of clarity that only arrives when everything else grows quiet. When you are constantly surrounded by noise, you may pray but not hear the answers. You may seek clarity but find only confusion. You may long for peace but feel weighed down by the chaos of the world. But when you step into solitude, your heart becomes open, your mind becomes still, and you begin to hear the voice of God speaking in ways you may have missed before. Think about how often spiritual leaders and prophets withdrew into solitude. Jesus retreated into the wilderness to pray and strengthen his spirit. Moses went to the mountain to meet with God. Muhammad received revelations in a cave. These moments of solitude were not accidents, they were necessary, because solitude is where the divine can reach you without interruption. When you embrace solitude, your prayers become conversations, not one-sided requests. You begin to feel guided, protected, and strengthened in ways that cannot be explained by logic. The stress of life may not disappear instantly, but in the stillness, you feel assurance. You realize you are not walking alone. You realize that the divine is within you, around you, and guiding you toward your higher purpose. This connection also brings clarity to your path. So many people live in confusion because they are disconnected from their inner spirit. They rely on the opinions of others, the trends of society, or the fears of their own mind to guide them. But solitude allows you to quiet those voices and tune into the voice that truly matters. The voice of God, the voice of truth, the voice of your higher self. Solitude also teaches you faith. When you spend time alone and yet feel a divine presence with you, you begin to trust that you are never truly abandoned. Even in your loneliest seasons, you realize there is a higher power watching over you, strengthening you, preparing you. That faith becomes an anchor. It gives you courage to keep moving forward even when the path is unclear, because you know you are guided. Most importantly, solitude transforms your relationship with yourself because it reminds you that you were created with purpose. You are not here by accident. You are not wandering without direction. In solitude, you connect with the one who designed your journey and you begin to walk in alignment with that divine plan. So, do not fear solitude. Embrace it. It is in that sacred space that your soul is restored, your spirit is renewed, and your connection with the divine is strengthened. And once you carry that connection, you walk with a light, a confidence, and a power that nothing in this world can take away. As we come to the end of this message, let us pause and truly reflect on what solitude means. In a world that is louder, faster, and busier than ever before, solitude has become one of the most overlooked blessings. Yet, it is in solitude that the deepest transformation happens. Solitude is not your enemy, it is your greatest teacher. It is not loneliness, it is strength. It is not emptiness, it is fullness. Through solitude, you awaken self-awareness. You discover who you truly are beyond the masks, beyond the noise, beyond the expectations others place on you. Solitude holds up a mirror and allows you to see yourself with honesty and clarity. That awareness becomes the compass that guides your life in the right direction. Through solitude, you strengthen inner peace. Instead of being tossed back and forth by every storm, every opinion, every rejection, you become grounded. You realize that peace is not something you chase in the world. It is something you build within. And once that peace takes root in your spirit, nothing external can steal it away. Through solitude, you unlock creativity and vision. Your mind clears, inspiration flows, and your imagination expands. You begin to see possibilities where others see obstacles. You birth ideas, solutions, and dreams that can change the course of your life. Solitude turns the silence into a workshop for your spirit, a place where vision takes shape and creativity rises. Through solitude, you build strength and independence. You no longer depend on the approval of others to feel worthy. You stop tolerating what diminishes your soul because you realize you can stand tall even when standing alone. Solitude teaches you resilience. It prepares you to walk through life with confidence, knowing that you carry within yourself all that you need. And through solitude, you deepen your connection with the divine. In the stillness, you feel the presence of God. In the silence, you hear guidance that the noise of the world cannot give you. Solitude reminds you that you are never truly alone. You are always walking with a higher power, always guided, always protected. This is why solitude transforms your potential. It awakens your spirit, strengthens your peace, ignites your vision, builds your independence, and connects you with the divine. It takes you from living on autopilot to living with intention. It shifts you from chasing approval to walking in purpose. So, do not fear solitude. Embrace it. Create moments in your day to sit in stillness, even if it's just a few minutes of silence. Guard that sacred time, because it is in those quiet moments that your greatest breakthroughs will come. Remember this: the world may try to convince you that being alone makes you weak, but the truth is, solitude makes you powerful. It is in solitude that you awaken to who you really are and rise into the person you were always meant to become. Step into solitude and watch your potential unfold.